Modesty and candor are necessary to an author in his judgment of his own works. No less are they in the reader. Sarah Fielding.
You're listening to Writing Roots, brought to you by Aspen House Publishing.
Welcome to Writing Roots. I'm Lee Hull.
And I'm Lee Esses.
The author behaving badly this week that has inspired this episode is one that I've seen talked about a lot on TikTok. It hasn't stopped readers from really loving her books, but it has inhibited some of the creativity around her books and the options that other people have to be able to share it. So this particular author decided to include in her copyright page that readers cannot share, lend, or otherwise distribute the physical copy of her books. If they want to let someone borrow it, they need to buy a second copy and gift it.
Which, on the surface, I can kind of see that logic of this is going to sell me more books. Because if 3 people read every single copy that's sold or whatever it is, but if more people are reading the book than are buying the book, if I can get the buying number up, then I'll have better sales, I'll make more money, I can do more writing later.
The problem with this, though, is that, one, it's not even close to being legally binding. There is case law and precedent for once someone has purchased a physical copy of something, it is theirs and they have the right to do with it what they will. And that's how things can get sold secondhand. But also, this is just in general a terrible idea and a ridiculous ask, because how do libraries share the book?
I can't imagine going, I don't want my book in libraries because they're not paying me for every time it's read. On a much broader scale, though, don't try to control your readers. That brings up the rest of this episode and the community that you build with your audience, with your readers. Disrespecting them is a way to lose a lot of them very quickly.
You want to treat your readers with respect because they are your community and they help make that bigger. They bring in other readers. They help you build a following because they love your book and they want other people to read it. So there are several things we're going to talk about today that address this topic of how to interact with and, in general, address your readers.
We've done an entire season several years back now that was talking about how to make sure that you're communicating your story properly with your readers. But today we're talking a little bit more on the author conduct and authors misbehaving. And the biggest way you see authors do that, at least in the last decade, has been misbehaving through social media. You say something stupid online and then you're burned for all eternity and no one's going to buy your books again.
In most cases, this comes through comments, through comment sections, through starting up or getting involved in debates online. And in general, that is just a terrible idea. When it comes to comments, you need to only respond in positive ways. That's a good rule of thumb. There are some exceptions, very few exceptions, but you can get yourself in trouble if you don't navigate this very, very carefully.
If you find yourself responding to your own comment because you have more to say on a particular topic, this is something that you should be aware of, to take a step back, go have a cup of coffee, make sure you've had your lunch, then come back and look at it and go, do I need to continue? Because the way that authors start to make themselves look bad in comment sections especially is ranting. And when you hit that limit or you go too far, you write too much content, that's when the rant starts to come in. And that's generally a sign that you're also not serving yourself by saying this information.
That habit, that desire to go on long rants can really be present if you are responding to negative comments about your own book and you are trying to argue in its favor. You're trying to disagree with whatever the reader opinion was. Do not do this. Like we said earlier this month, don't go looking for negative reviews. Don't go out there and try to discount or argue your points of why they're wrong. That is just bad. It is disrespectful to their opinion and their reader space. However, there is one exception I've seen to this recently. One very good exception. And it was because the reader breached the relationship first. The reader on TikTok sought out the author's posts, sought out their account, sought out a post talking specifically about the book that this reader had read, and then commented on that post describing all the reasons why she hated the book and why it was boring and why it was terrible. That is an absolute breach of the author-reader relationship. And the author's response was very tasteful. The author made a video response and basically said, I respect your opinion. I respect that you didn't like it, and that is perfectly fine. I am not here to tell you that you are wrong in that respect. However, I don't seek out reviews. I don't seek out comments. I don't seek out your space to go tell you why you're wrong. Please do not come to my space and my posts to tell me why my book was bad, because that is your opinion and other people don't have that opinion. You can go to Goodreads and you can go to your reader spaces and leave your reviews however you want and tell people they shouldn't buy the book because you think it's boring. That is perfectly fine. Do not come to my page to tell me this. That is disrespectful. And it was such a perfect response, and the only response that I have seen from an author do this well.
Nice. I think, for the most part, if you sincerely believe that this comment is wrong, your fans will stick up for you. If someone goes onto Lee's Facebook or Instagram and then says, yeah, all of Brandon Sanderson's books are stupid, she will stick up for Brandon Sanderson.
Absolutely,
and
I will.
Every one of your followers will also stick up for Brandon Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson does not need to address this at all because he has enough of a following and enough people who are supporting him that acknowledging the comment can often do more harm than good. We'll talk about manufactured outrage later this month, but not acknowledging these types of comments is generally the best way to go about it. If it needs a response, your other fans who are supporting you will respond on your behalf more often than not, and your hands are clean.
And if you are worried that you don't have a big enough following to come to your defense, you're not going to build that following by defending yourself. Just leave it be, step away.
On a more positive note, there is a fun thing in social media that I've seen the last few years. And that is fans of a particular thing naming themselves, and after they get the name, then the creator will address them as, hey, fans of the TV show Psychos, did you see the pineapple this episode?
Also, if you are looking for a good way to engage your readers without causing a problem in this author-reader relationship delicate balance going on, a common thing that you can do is to ask questions of your reader to help keep engagement strong on your preferred platform. So something just like, what was your favorite book growing up? I've seen one indie author that will pick two books and go, do you prefer this one or this one? And then just that's it. That's his entire TikTok of the day. And then it creates a good engagement within the stories of readers, of audience, talking about their favorite books or talking why they preferred one over the other.
There's an author that I follow on Facebook, and she puts little nods to mostly places in her books and sometimes recipes and this and that. So she can say on social media, hey, did you catch the comment here? Or hey, did you blah, blah, blah. And they can either go, yes, I caught it. I'm engaged. I feel special because you put a breadcrumb and I followed it. Or, no, I have to go back and reread the book. I have to re-engage with the content in order to make sure that I'm getting the most out of it. It's a great way to make her stories interact with her social media beyond, did you read Chronicles of Narnia when you were growing up?
And of course, there are going to be comments that either are snarky or just downright rude. Choose to laugh at them, choose to ignore them, and just move on instead of being offended by them. Oftentimes they are looking for that rage bait or whatever. It's just much easier if you move on from it.
It comes down to treating your readers with respect, treating your audience with respect online, and then the people who are reading your books and will never engage with you online, treating those people with respect, because then they will feel like they can enjoy the story. They don't have to have their skin crawl when they're reading your book. They can just enjoy the story that you're telling. You may feel like you're undermining certain groups of people, but you're really undermining yourself. So protect yourself by respecting your readers everywhere you encounter them. And then when you're writing,
write selfishly.
If you have a question or comment for our hosts or a topic you'd like us to cover, send us an email at writingroots@aspenhousepublishing.com or find us on Facebook by searching for Aspen House Publishing.